Fasten your seatbelts. It's going to be a bumpy night.
But tell me, Eddie, is that a rabbit in your pocket or you're just happy to see me?
It took fucking forever for StreamYards to finally show that we were live. To finally show we were live, it was about 10 seconds before, left in the countdown.
I didn't notice. I was doing other things.
No, of course you didn't notice, but I was watching the little spinning thing happening, it's counting down closer and closer and closer to when it's supposed to go, and I finally goes, "You're live." So yes, but here it is, the Cringe Factory, and for the time being, until this semester is over, I had to move it again to Friday evenings because, and yes, I know I'm competing with Friday Night Tights because I have a Wednesday evening class. So it was either switch it to Monday or Friday. So either way, it's going to be a day that's not the best for streaming. Because Tuesday's out because of other streams going on, and Thursday I try to save for Twitch. So, but
yeah,
anyway.
well, it's bad for Friday Night Tights really because we're way more informative to watch than those buggers.
Well, yeah, and we're also hotter, so.
I mean, oh yeah, so. I mean, I'm just wearing boxers. That's it, and lotion.
And picture that, folks, in your heads.
Yeah, picture that.
Yes. So, but anyway, thank you to those who are hanging out with us in this chat, even despite Friday Night Tights going on. But before I say hello to the chats, Sieg, let everybody know everything that you have going on.
Not much. I don't do that much YouTube anymore. I do the coffee chat with Alora on Thursdays. Mm-hmm. We're definitely past an anniversary on that one, I think, because we've been at it for quite a while. And it's this one on Fridays or whenever you decide it fits best based on your school plans. Yeah, I think that's it. Oh, Teresa, Miss Martin Muses' channel. We're talking about the Lord of the Rings books, doing chapter by chapter every second Saturday or something like that. So that's also pretty fun.
Okay, yeah, those are Saturday late morning or early afternoon time frames. That's what they're.
Yeah, yeah, it varies. Oh, and on Sundays I play D&D, but that's not
public. Yeah, that's not streamed. So
thank God it's not public.
Well, we'd have to unlist them. Let's put it that way.
Uh-huh.
There's no way we'd be able to monetize them.
Whose fault is that? It's not mine.
I'm not. I said the royal we, but I'm saying it's the shit that us girls have done. It's we can't exactly monetize those streams. Nope. Anyway, so the only monetization we get is whoever channel is on if they are themselves monetized for super chats. But otherwise, once they're done, they go unlisted or private because they can't stay up.
No.
But anyway, I'm gonna say hello to the chat, and then we'll get into some of the cringe topics I found. I mean, there's arguably more topics that we could be talking about, but I wanted to save some of those to see if Steph wanted to talk about them on Talk Nerdy to Us tomorrow evening instead. So without further ado, the first one in the chat is Maza. He goes, "Hey." Every time I say "hey" now, I think of how Maza says it. So I start saying it too. The Aussies are having a bad influence on me. Sunny and Brave Megatron, he just comes in and says, "Big boobies." Thank you so much, Sunny and Brave Megatron. Orange Hat Reviews is dropping in to say hi and give some support. Sorry. Got an angry. God, I'm blanking right now. Is it pronounced Yautja? Yautja, wanting to collect a Klingon. It's the Predator species. Wanting to collect a Klingon skull in about an hour. It's his versus stream. So I'm not gonna. I know how to pronounce that, but I'm blanking right now. All I know is the Predator species. So, Phil, why is it not letting me select it? There you go. Hey, Phil, he says hello there, and Chunk the Punk is like, "Hey, you guys," And he's like, you can't say guys anymore. I mean, I'm pretty sure that whenever they finally do a sequel to Goonies or a Goonies remake, because it'll be inevitable, they won't say guys anymore because that's too sexist. It's not inclusive. So yeah. And Michael Quaid says, I love you, girl, but Friday Night Lights is also on right now. I know it's one of those situations where it's like I couldn't help it. The class I had to enroll in was Wednesday evenings only. And that basically put a hole right in my streaming schedule. So there it is. The Sentinel says, hey, everyone, good to see you. Trey Courtney says, hey, what's up? Let's see. Making sure I say hello to everyone.
Trey Courtney is
hey
there every
again.
time, I think.
What?
Trey Courtney is in the chat every time we're doing this show.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, he's awesome. He's a big supporter, like not just for me, but for Steph, Lethal, and like all those guys. So he's great. Megatron says he's just wearing glasses, so I believe it. Mr. Bentham says hello, all good to see you. He sends us his happy anniversary. Metalong says, hey Mara, not sure how long I'll be watching. Freebie keeps going up and down. Well, really, I don't care if you like watch or not. Like really, just get better. That's all that matters. Like you have this. You're in the chat. You have the stream in your history. So if you're not able to watch, you can go back and watch the replay. I'm more concerned with like you staying, basically making sure that you get better, and not worrying about like staying for the whole life.
He's actually pretty. He probably shouldn't watch, given that he has a fever and this is a chill stream.
God, probably. No, I don't. But we're not exactly clean. We're pretty damn toxic if you think about it. It's more the language we use. Like you don't see us; you only see our avatar.
Well, the players might not show their boobs, but the characters sure as hell do.
Yeah. So, I mean, my character is a temptress, and I know this is gonna get clipped, but fuck it. My character is given 2 guys hand jobs, and she's shagged 3.
Yeah, she's shagged 3, and yeah.
So I'm making sure I like correct because it's the Will, the Prince, and the prison guard, or the barracks guard, whatever you want to call them. But like the one where we were doing this side missions before we went to the castle.
Yeah, she gets a +2 bonus on attack and damage and stuff if she shags a new class and race combination.
Yeah, but they don't have to like do it necessarily just for the bonus. But basically, it's just one of those like games where it's like it's incentive for your character to be loose. So
yeah, she was like boners, and I'm like, no, bonus.
No. Anyway, cue ball. Hello, good evening to you. Okay, I pronounced it right. Okay, I was like looking at that word. I'm like, I know how to pronounce it, but I'm like, I kind of want to butcher it. Panda Power says, hail Jade Shadow and hail Steve Kenobi. Thank you so much for stopping by. Panda Power, good to see you. So SJW twats on Survivor got all pissy because Jeff Probst addressed the group as guys. Yeah, I think like Raging Rhino talked a little bit about that yesterday, but I couldn't stick around for the whole live stream or that whole part of it. So he then took a moment to virtue signal and proceeded to cater to the Karen. Yeah, well, that's what you get.
You should have just said, "I'm not sorry, dude."
Yeah, so like I like these like reactions. Yeah, well, I'm saying like that's my character. That's my character. So it's basically it's incentive to be loose.
It's anyway. basically the Conan version of a D&D bard. Just kind of okay at a lot of stuff and very charisma based.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, because I think you were saying that when I get to, which I doubt very seriously that we'll ever get even remotely close to this, but like level 20 or something, I'm basically a MILF. My character is basically a MILF.
Yeah, there's a class feat that says you're now glorious and you've aged better with age or whatever, something like that. You turn into a MILF.
Yeah, pretty much. And Subhuman says, hey, yo, good to see you, Subhuman. And Bobby Campbell, good to see you. Gonna erase the X-Men name. She's been talking about that for a while. That the news itself is not exactly new, but if they ended up doing it, yeah. So she's talked about that before. How
the stupid thing about this is that people let her. I mean, she should have, just by saying that, she should have gotten, pushed as far away from that franchise as possible.
Yeah, I know, but we're seeing the demise of those franchises, DC and Marvel, right now, just from within, pretty much. So,
you know what? With people like this in charge, don't give them any money. Instead, go to eBay and buy older comics and stuff that you haven't read before, because they're not woke, and it's if you haven't read it before, it's new content, isn't it?
Like they, X, they, them, she. Well, yeah, pretty much. Yeah, I'm getting the impression that Star Wars Vision sucks. I'm getting that impression from people.
I called it.
I mean, C's known and other people have known that I've basically been checked out of Star Wars for.
Yeah, she's smarter than I am, or less patient, or less stubborn. I don't know. In any case, I think she did the right thing, and I didn't.
Yeah. All right, well, you stuck with it. So I'm not anybody wants to stick with it for whatever reason, more power to them. But yeah, I've checked out. I'll talk about it on streams if the person who's running the stream has chosen it as one of the topics. But me personally, I don't today's topics will be one of the Diablo 2 devs talking about the backlash to the female characters in Diablo 2 Resurrected. You have the Bond director basically admitting the film is woke while trying to deny the film is woke. And another basically retarded article from The Gamer talking about how bisexual characters are, what's the title? In animation are paving the way forward for queer diversity. That is, yes, those are the topics. Like I said, I steer clear of Star Wars. I mean, it isn't canon, but at the same time, it still has to make sense within the framework. And you have things like the umbrella lightsaber, which really, never mind the fact that even the helicopter lightsabers, the stupid ones from Rebels, wouldn't work in that regard by making them fly from one part to another. But to have an umbrella lightsaber, come on, really?
Yeah. It's actually more believable than a helicopter lightsaber would fly.
Yeah.
Also, we have confirmation that our stream is campy because Pastor G. Is once again watching it while I'm camping.
Yes. So good evening, Pastor G. I hope you are having a fun time on your vacation camping trip. I'm doing well. It's Friday evenings. I'm happy about that. So hope you're enjoying everything. Hope you're enjoying life. Let's see. He'll pop out of nowhere now just because we started talking about it somehow.
Pastor G is one of my favorite priests, and I'm an atheist.
Deadpunk Gage says it's not even really comic book X-Men anymore. It honestly feels more like that crappy live action Inhumans from years ago in comic form. Yeah, pretty much. Pretty much. But yeah, so anyway, let's get into the topics now. So I leave it up to the co-host which ones we start with. So you have the Diablo 2 article, the Bond director article. Both are on Bounding into Comics, and then the Gamer article about bisexual characters. So
okay, I'll roll a dice for it.
All right, there you go.
The last one.
So we're going straight full retard, the bisexual character.
Yeah, let's go full retard right away.
All right, we'll go to that first. So here it is, folks. Bisexual characters in animation are paving the way forward for queer diversity. Korra, Harley Quinn, and Luz Nocita, I don't fucking care, offer some of the best bi representation around. Take it in, folks. Yep, I guess that's another retarded take from The Gamer, and it's particularly from this author, Jade King.
Jade King they, them?
I believe so. I'd have to click on the.
It sounds like a they, them.
Let me click on the name. It'll open up a tab. Hold on. There it is. I can't even tell if it's male or female, to be quite honest, from that picture. But in this bio, it says she can be found talking about games, anime, and retweeting Catradora fan. Oh my god, she's one of those fucking shipper fan art weirdos. Anyway, back. All right. But from the picture, I couldn't even tell if that was a man or a woman, to be quite honest.
Yeah.
Anyway, another retarded take from the Jade King. All right, okay, first off, I didn't even realize this. It says this week saw us celebrate Bisexual Day of Visibility. There's actually a day of like bisexual awareness.
How do you make it visible that you're bisexual?
Cora was made bi because weirdos complain. Yeah, generally how it is. Yep. Harley Quinn is a criminal. How she? I don't know. Like, she's somehow a role model now. Hey, Lord Understatement. Hey. Yeah, but first off, again with the retardedness of like those who claim that gender is a spectrum. Wouldn't bisexuality cease to exist? Because that implies two.
Yeah,
you're only sexually attracted to two.
Yeah, you're attracted to either of the genders.
Yes.
Which either of the two genders. Which plot hole they claim it's 67 now.
Oh, I mean, only 67.
Polar bear is a gender too, and space river nymph. That's true. I actually saw someone claim that space river nymph.
Space. Oh my fucking god.
Yep, that's a gender.
We are going to hell in a handbasket.
Yeah.
Okay, so there was a bisexual day of visibility, an occasion where bisexuals can stand up and be proud of their identities. Well, like, what has that ever stopped them before? I mean, I'm saying recently before, not including, yes, in history, there's always shit that goes on, and yes, I know homosexuals, like, were targeted decades ago, but up till now, what was stopping them?
Yeah.
Really, what was stopping them from being proud of their identities, welcoming the sexual and emotional bonds they have with people? How has that stopped anyone? And gamers of all genders. No, you're including gamers in this, are you?
Why the hell would...
Okay, you're talking about animation and you bring up gamers. What the fuck?
If a gamer is whatever sexually, it doesn't even matter because the person sitting there gaming, he or she's not fucking anyone.
No. You know? Yeah. Hey, Heath Nation. It says ahoy, Jade, and Stieg in parentheses. So
hi.
It's like what's funny is that Hollywood don't like bi people. You have to be all in. The only time it's okay is if you're a person of color. Yeah. Pretty much. It flip-flops so much. Pretty much. I don't watch Avatar, so I'm not sure what exactly has been going on with that show. So what does their sexuality actually mean for the story overall? It means jack shit for the story overall. At least it used to mean jack shit, but now it's all about the characters. Like, so
back when Dragon Age 2 came out and it wasn't finished because it got rushed out the door by EA. So, the game has one cave map for all the caves and stuff. But in that game, all your romance options were basically player sexual. It didn't, your gender didn't matter, right?
Yeah.
And they had to do it that way because they were running out of time. So they just made all the romance options player sexual. And people started, cheering, oh, yeah, finally we can romance whoever we want. And great representation and blah, blah, blah. Then an interview with David Gator showed up, the lead writer, who happens to be gay, very gay, and an excellent writer. He said he would have preferred it if the characters had their own sexualities, so they weren't just player sexual, because he wanted them to feel like real. So if a character was, if one of the female companions were, lesbian, then you couldn't romance her as a male character, right? because that would make her character more, real. She wouldn't just cater to you. So he was talking about that, and people got pissed. But
Of course.
I mean, even the gay writer said it.
But it's wrong. It's wrong.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, he would have been canceled today.
Yeah, unfortunately, he would be. Okay. It's a beautiful thing, and it's been so wonderful to see friends and colleagues proudly share a part of themselves and nobody should be ashamed of, even if at times bisexual representation can be found wanting. Well, of course it's going to be found wanting because now we live in a society where there's 67 genders.
Well,
according to these fucking weirdos.
Isn't it? She's still talking about gamers, right?
Well, I mean, she included gamers, but I'm assuming, yeah, she's still kind of talking about them.
Yeah, so gamers shouldn't be ashamed of being bisexual. Like, nobody knows if they're bisexual, gay, or straight until they tell them.
No one knows.
Which has what to do with the game?
It has absolutely nothing to do with the game, unless for whatever reason, it's one of those stupid games where it's like you're, like that. I haven't played this game, but I've seen it covered on the Gamer, that boyfriend dungeon game where you kind of like romance different characters and see like which ones want to romance you back, sort of a situation. Then you might say, oh, like kind of like you're putting yourself a little bit into that character, so you're going to go one way or the other, and you might mention it.
Yeah,
but playing a game like Splitgates, like what I'm playing, which is basically just a multiplayer shooter game, nothing to do with that.
Yeah, so it's just, who the hell cares if the person you're playing with, when you're playing Left 4 Dead is whatever? Doesn't matter.
Yeah, doesn't matter. I mean, hell, I played Ghost of Tsushima, and the only character you could play was Jin Sakai, a male, and for all you know, straight. But it didn't matter because that didn't matter to his character.
Yeah.
You played the story.
I saw someone, I think it was last year, someone wanted CD Projekt Red to modify The Witcher 3 so that Geralt could romance, the Viking dude and Vernon Roach.
Oh, I was going to say the horse?
Yeah, no, not the horse.
Right.
No. Not yet, anyway.
Oh, yeah. Hey, Momonty.
Damn it, Roach.
Yeah. It's like, hey, what's up, everyone? And Sogi01. The Alphabet Mafia is our new religion, pretty much. Yes. Okay. While the modern landscape is far more accepting, when I was growing up, declaring yourself as bisexual was often seen as greedy. You were either accused of being scared to come out as gay or wanted to be a special snowflake amidst a society that was still largely unreceptive to queer identities. I mean, first off, it's like if someone's accusing them of being too scared to come out as gay, it's probably someone of still of the gay community.
Yeah.
Not a straight person.
If this person is being accused of being a special snowflake,
yeah,
I'm pretty sure they're right.
God, no, Sonny and Ray Megatron. I'm saying I can't say for certain how it was for her growing up because I wasn't there, but I still want to call bullshit because I feel like she's exaggerating the circumstances.
Yeah, to maintain the victim
in this article.
Well, it's the same as the narrative, that girls weren't allowed to be Star Wars fans, right?
Yeah.
I've been a Star Wars fan since the 80s, and nobody told girls that they couldn't like Star Wars or couldn't hang out with Star Wars fans. I mean, most of the female Star Wars fans I know just as much as I do about Star Wars. I mean, heck, well, you were there when we had the Star Wars D&D game. Over half the group of the players were girls. Three girls and 2 guys.
Yeah, and ended up being 3 girls and 2 guys. Yeah.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, but at the same time, it's like just me personally growing up as a nerd, I was never excluded from anything. If anything, if I came forward and said, as I was interested in learning about something, part of the nerd culture that I wasn't exactly familiar with or I wanted to get more into, the guys were a lot more receptive to that, because oh my god, we can actually bestow our knowledge on a certain topic onto this person who wants to know. It didn't matter that I was I think to some it mattered that I was a female, because like it's just like not many girls would admit that they were nerds growing up when I was growing up. But they never excluded me. They were like, it's like, as long as you showed that you were willing to learn and admit that you don't know a lot, but you wanted to basically learn like as much as you could and not pretend shit, fine.
Yeah, basically, as long as you're not a faker, and that counts for everything. Even football fans or what have you. But the problem usually arises when someone new shows up to a group and then asks or demands that the group change to cater to them.
Saying, like, that's when they call out. That's when whenever I was growing up, that's when the core group would call out the bullshit.
Yeah, and that's pretty much what's happened to the people who claim, oh yeah, we were excluded from Star Wars, whatever. Yeah, it's because of the personality.
Yeah, so nothing to do
with not the gender.
No, like it has nothing to do with making like a certain fandom like an exclusive club or anything like that. It's basically, in a way, weeding out, like you said, the fakers and the bullshit and things like that, and basically accepting those who want to genuinely, who admit they don't know much but want to learn as much as possible.
Yeah, back in the
same thing. No matter what fandom I grew up in, same thing.
Back in the 80s and 90s, being a nerd was a bit of a, it wasn't necessarily a positive thing.
No, it was a stigma. That's why I've said, it's like not a lot of girls admitted they were nerds. That's why, like, whenever a guy came across one, he was a lot more willing.
Actually,
accept her into the nerd culture.
The way I remember it, there was actually a lot more girls calling people nerds than there were guys doing.
Yeah, so girls were worse in that regard. That's what's like. That's like the whole narrative that it was like a He-Man woman haters club is. First off, it's bullshit, and secondly, it's overblown because, like we've pointed out, that it would be people just calling out the fakers in the groups. It doesn't matter what gender you are, but if like they happen to be girls who are just coming in going, like, the fake geek girls who like want to act like they know shit. Well, yeah, they're gonna get called out, but it doesn't matter if they're female or not. The same thing with guys, and. Like basically growing up at the time, there's a stigma to being a nerd. There was a stigma to it. It's not like trendy like it is now.
Yeah. I remember in the early 90s, some of the girls in class were playing video games, and they didn't really talk about it until later, when I guess they were kind of embarrassed by it or something.
Mm-hmm.
But later on, though, they just chimed in and they were playing the same games we were playing. So,
yeah. The question of how was more or less just not talking to them, and the why is because they would immediately show that they were fake.
Yeah.
Or that they wanted the group to change to fit them. Oh my! This is my first one. I mean, hey, go ahead. Yeah, but I'm saying, like, again, I had we can't like really continue without repeating ourselves. But basically, it's like this whole narrative I call bullshit on that she's saying. I think she's greatly exaggerating the circumstances she was growing up in, because it makes no sense. At least the second part, unless she herself was acting like that snowflake. Like, it's not because she was bisexual. So
no, I think it's being exaggerated in a lot of articles, just to so the writer can get some victimhood put in place, and also to make the article look like the person is writing from some kind of authority position, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So. All right. Bisexual people in straight relationships are often viewed as not being enough, while those in same-sex partnerships are viewed as the opposite, like they're betraying their support of homosexuality by openly admitting they have attraction to more than one gender. I recently wrote about embracing a straight relationship in Life is Strange: True Colors as a transgender woman. And even that came with confronting my own internal stigma formed from years of tired cliches that had me ashamed of who I was for irrational reasons. So I pushed through it. Protagonist Alex Chen is also bisexual rather than player sexual, which made this decision much easier. All right. All right. Are we ever going to get into the whole animation thing? Hold on. All right. I'm just going to skip this paragraph here because it's more BS. Games have trouble defining characters as canonically bisexual in the modern era, often labeling you as player sexual or opting for a heteronormative approach that foregoes diversity entirely. Animation, on the other hand, has been more progressive in its approach, particularly in shows that appeal to children and young adults who need to be made aware that LGBTQ plus people are welcomed and accepted. So basically, indoctrinate the children. Not saying that there's anything wrong, but at the same time, it should be up to the parents, not the shows. The Legend of Korra is one of the earliest modern examples of this, although it was a production where queer themes were snuffed out by internal politics the writers and animators tried desperately to fight against in the final hours. Asami and Korra disappeared into a transcendent stream of light in the show's closing moments, holding hands and making it clear to the viewers that they were in love. The straight relationships explored earlier in the series were put to the wayside as Korra's true romance became clear. I assume this is what you were talking about, Mr. Bentham. Like player sexual basically means that the player, like say in like Mass Effect, the player chooses which characters essentially to romance. That's what that means. Kind of like with D&D, sometimes basically it leaves it up to the players how they're going to play their characters as, versus like creating certain characters that are only a certain sexuality. No, it's actually Stig. Well, I mean, that's been around. Stig can talk about that again because he brought that word up when he comes back not that long ago. So, but that's not a new word. It's not exactly a new concept. It's just it appealed to the mob that like demanded certain things. And he can go into it again for those who came in late about that. Yeah, so it's a one big therapy session for the author, pretty much. We'll go into that. When he comes back, he had put in the private chat that he'll be right back. I'll have him explain player sexual again. Yeah, she was straight for a majority of the show, then the last episode turns out bi. Okay. Alright. There's never been a law that prevented a woman from buying a game console and playing some games. The only thing that stops a woman from playing is personal choice. Yeah. Yeah, pretty much. They are fucking weirdos, Trey. Yeah, they are. It was lovely and would be further expanded upon in comics and novels after the show had run its course, providing writers with more freedom to explore their relationship in a way that wasn't hampered by needless politics. Well, you just added politics to the show. Both of these women are bisexual, and that attraction is a fundamental part of their character arcs, but the same-sex relationship in the final episode cements their queerness, proving that characters needn't be jammed into boxes for the sake of pleasing prissy conservatives. Oh, those damn conservatives. They're far more than gals being pals. They aren't just roommates. Oh god, that animation sucks. Adventure Time.
Yeah, all of it sucks now, though.
Yeah.
The new animation. It just looks like it's from the same lab, right?
Could you explain this again, please? Because some people came in late.
Player sexual?
Concept. Yeah.
Well, let's say you're playing, I don't know, a role-playing game that has romance options.
Mm-hmm.
Like Mass Effect or The Witcher. Well, The Witcher doesn't count because you
only really romance Triss or Yennefer, so
or Kira Metz.
Yeah,
but in a role playing game where you can pick your own gender, right?
Mm-hmm.
And all the romance options are interested in you, and no matter what gender your character is. That's player sexual.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
It's just the character just changes to fit your preference, basically.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So like some people came in late, and like this woman actually dropped player sexual in the article.
Yeah.
So saying like it's not a new term. It's just
no, it's an old term.
Mm-hmm.
I think it started when Dragon Age 2 came out, because that's the first time I remember seeing player sexual. In
Mm-hmm.
Dragon Age 3, though, they're not player sexual. Cassandra is straight. You have Dorian, the best character in the game, actually, is gay. And then you have one or two bisexuals,
Mm-hmm.
and a couple of full-blown lesbians. So,
oh, see, there you go. But basically, like in a nutshell, player sexual is the person playing the character is in control of how, like the sexuality of the character they're playing.
Yeah,
that's basically what it means.
Yeah, it's the character isn't. It's kind of, it's like the character isn't his own character. It's the character just an extension of the preferences of the player. You know, which is kind of, it's lazy. I'd much rather play if I play like Mass Effect 5 or whatever, if it's out, right? And I'm playing as a male shepherd or something, and I'm hitting on a female character, I would much rather be turned down because that character is a lesbian than have everyone just be interested in my character. That's almost like full-blown narcissism. Everyone should like me because I'm me, right?
I haven't played, I mean, I know I played Mass Effect and things like that. I don't mind those games too much, but whenever I play them, I kind of like pick another character and I choose that character, whatever. I don't try to romance everyone, but then, yeah, like I can see the narcissistic angle to that. Where it's like, oh, I'm just going to basically flirt with everyone and see which ones are receptive, pretty much.
Yeah, it's basically just everyone cater to me because I'm me. That's what player sexual is.
So, Michael Tenen for $50. You did not have to send that, but thank you so much. He says, "Hi, Mara. That's the message." Thank you so much, Michael. And it's like been a while since I've seen you in the chat. Hope all is going well with you. And you are just in time to see the retardedness of a gamer article. It's an article about animation on a site called The Gamer. Really. But she somehow found a way to include gaming into it, but she's focusing on animation. So.
Yeah.
The term itself is basically just the player choosing the sexuality. Or at least the characters, how the character's sexuality is going to go. So if they're playing, let's say, female shepherd, and they want to play her as a lesbian, they're going to romance the other female characters. That's player sexual.
Yeah, basically, if you're playing as a lesbian, all the other female romance options will be lesbians too, just because your character is lesbian.
Yes. So if you go the bi route, well, then obviously you're going to like go after like both genders. And if you go straight, like say playing the female shepherd, you're going to only romance the male characters. I'm saying like that's the concept of player sexual. That's like how some of these games have included it into the options for the gameplay. That's what player sexual means.
Yeah.
So there it is. So basically, they took that concept and put it into like role playing games, whether it's D&D or games like Mass Effect and things like that, where you have that.
Yeah. Option. And it also makes the NPCs less real because they're not even they're not really their own characters if they don't really have a choice. They just they don't get to have a preference basically.
So let's see. Adventure Time's Princess Bubblegum and Marceline built upon these foundations, depicting a slow burn relationship that the show teased and expanded on for years. I've only seen some episodes of Adventure Time, so I can't speak as an expert. Certain episodes would hint at a rift having formed between them, a deep relationship breaking apart as self-doubts and regret overwhelmed the two women, so much so that they decided to distance themselves from one another for good. Fans recognize this bond, honing in on it as they encourage the production team to spill the beans and provide us with small slithers of what the chaotic fantasy lesbians were up to. That is a way of saying that the fans. I mean, I haven't watched the show, so I can't like say like what those, I guess, that riff was, what those stories were per se. But to say the fans recognize this bond, that basically is the fans, the weirdo shippers that wanted to see them together and encouraged, quote unquote, encouraged the production team to spill the beans. Meaning, they are lesbian, so you have to write them as lesbian or bisexual or whatever.
You know what's interesting though? The people that are, all for, play as sexual characters and all that in RPGs are also the same people when they get writing jobs that tend to create characters that are self-inserts.
Yeah.
It's exactly the same, and it goes back to narcissism.
Yeah. Yeah. So basically recognizing fanfic as canon, pretty much. That's what that says to me. When you word it like, fans recognize the bond. Those are the weirdo shippers. They had the fan fiction, the fan arts, and so forth to encourage, quote unquote, encourage the production team to spill the beans. So I call bullshit there. However, throughout the show, it also becomes clear they are bisexual, having experienced relationships with other characters in a world that views sexuality with a welcome element of fluidity. Look at the animation. That's not exactly normal to begin with. It's a show called Adventure Time where a kid walks around with a talking dog.
Yeah, they don't even have noses.
Yeah, so I was like, who the fuck cares? I don't think any queer individuals will forget when they heard "I'm just your problem" for the first time, sharing in the angst that comes with a love you. Okay, hold on. Okay, I don't think any queer individuals will forget when they heard "I'm just your problem" for the first time, sharing in the angst that comes with a love you, want to salvage this love you want to salvage despite how much it might hurt you. Anybody watch Adventure Time? What the fuck does that mean?
I don't know. I don't watch that. I don't even know what it's about. So
I've seen some episodes, and I felt like I had to be on acid to watch the series.
I have a good friend of mine that's a lesbian though, and she told me that she and others are fucking fed up with stuff like this. They hate it as much as we do.
But it's but at the same time, these people think that they are appealing to that demographic. So it's like,
yeah,
they're not. They're not. Yeah, they're not appealing to it at all.
No, they're making them unappealing.
Like I said, I've seen some episodes, and that was years ago. So, they smooched in the end, though, and it was amazing. Yet their bisexuality remains a major part of who they are. It isn't brushed aside once the core romance is established, regardless of how appealing that might be. It shouldn't be a major part of who they are. It shouldn't be that major of a part of who they are, because your sexuality does not define you.
Yeah, and if it's not the focus of the story, why does it matter?
It doesn't.
It's like making a big deal out of, I don't know, some of the Disney ones, Goofy being gay or something, right? It never plays into any of the episodes. It doesn't matter. He might be gay. We don't know.
Yeah, I don't know. I really don't know, and it doesn't matter because, like I said, it should not be a major. Less the story itself is like, say, for example, it's set in the decades where homosexuality wasn't as accepted as it is now, and you had to hide that fact. Like, say, like, for example, Rock Hudson. I don't know how many people know, but he was gay.
I didn't know that.
Yeah, he was gay, but he had to hide it. He had to hide that fact because he's working in Hollywood, and just in every movie he was in, it was a straight relationship. But that was a time when it wasn't accepting for him to come out of the closet and say that I'm a gay man. So they've been around for decades in Hollywood, not just Hollywood. I'm saying, but like within Hollywood itself, they've been around for decades. But there were times when they in Hollywood could not admit, or at least openly admit, they were. It was known they were, but because it wasn't as accepted in the general public, rock hudson would make movies with like Doris Day and things like that.
Yeah. Also, Macaulay Culkin is gay. Came out of the closet,
Mm-hmm.
and he's single, so that means he's home alone.
Trey Courtney says Rob Halford from Judas Priest. I mean,
yeah,
like I said, like there are people like like you would look at them like you like don't really know, and yeah, like that person is gay or was gay. Like Rock Hudson's like passed away; he's no longer around, but he was a gay man. He could not come out openly because it was a time that wasn't as accepted. So if you were to put a character in that time, then okay, I can see that being a major part of the character because it's how the character has to react around people in society.
yeah. And you had Richard Chamberlain as well, who quite often played romantic roles, and he also played Aramis in the Three Musketeers, who's arguably the most amorous of them.
Yeah, the most amorous one of the three.
Yeah, he did it expertly, by the way. The Three Musketeers movies with well, there's two of them, but
like if you were to like in like those decades, then yeah I could see that the sexuality playing a major part because it's influencing how the person he or she acts in society, or has to act because of general perception, or feelings or reactions. So, yeah, Troy Donahue, Dick Sargent from Bewitched. Yeah,
and
they couldn't come out openly.
What's his name? The guy who played Dr. Doogie.
Yeah, Neil Patrick Harris. Yeah. He couldn't he's arguably like after that that time, but he didn't admit it until years later. No one knew. No one knew. So there like I'm saying, it's like that's the only time that I could see them getting away with making it a major part of the character. And it's primarily because of society's reactions and things like that.
And this is animation though. It's not like animated characters were fired if they had a different sexuality,
Yeah, so there it is. There's also Harley Quinn and Poison Ivy from the excellent animated series led by Kaylee Cuoco, a queer relationship that has become borderline iconic in recent years. That started in the comics, genius. That started in the comics. Say you don't know shit without saying you don't know shit. Once again, these are two women who proudly flaunt their sexuality, but this doesn't discount the attraction they develop for one another as they overcome adversity and come to realize they want to spend their lives together. While live-action films are eager to swat away LGBTQ plus themes altogether in an attempt to attract international audiences, China, animation sits in a space where these ideas can be tapped into without as many consequences. Bigots will still emerge from the woodwork, but they're fewer and further between.
So if they're fewer and further between, what's the issue then?
It started in the comics.
Yeah.
And if these people, I'm talking about like Hollywood in general, but if these people really believed in the fucking bullshit they peddled, that Birds of Prey movie that was in name only, that came out not that long ago, they could have had that fucking relationship in that movie because Harley Quinn was never part of Birds of Prey. She was part of the Gotham City Sirens with guess who? Poison Ivy and Catwoman. Yeah. You could have fucking had the relationship in film.
Yeah. Also, a golfer's dog is accusing me of lying about Macaulay Culkin to tell a dad joke. You're damn right, sir. I did.
Obviously. So, but yeah, I'm saying because like I said, Harley Quinn was never part of Birds of Prey. They could have had badass female heroes that were female and badass villains that were female. Had the actual Birds of Prey fighting the Gotham City Sirens, and then had the LGBTQ plus representation with Poison Ivy and Harley Quinn's relationship. But they didn't do that. And what we got was nowhere near what Birds of Prey should have been. It was in name only. And this person is saying it's only focusing on the animated series, and I'm like, they did it in the comics, and it's been around for long enough that if she actually knew the shit she was talking about, she would not have been surprised and just, yay, representation in the animated series.
Yeah. I'm not an expert on DC comics or anything, but even I knew about the Harley and Poison Ivy.
Yeah. Yeah, so I'm like, so if you've read any of my work on thegamer.com, oh, I've read your shit. You'll know I'm obsessed with the Owl House, and a huge part of that admiration comes from how many queer boundaries in the show has managed to break. So the show itself could be shit.
Side note,
yeah.
The writer of this article is trying constantly to make the article about her.
Yeah. But like the show itself could be shit, but the huge part of the admiration comes from how many queer boundaries it pushes. So it doesn't matter how good the show is. That's what she focuses on. And she actually drops Latinx.
Yeah, which the Latinos don't like.
No, they fucking hate it.
Yeah.
Luz Noceda, I don't know how to pronounce that, is a bisexual Latinx heroine who isn't afraid to show her attraction for both men and women. She will exchange awkward blushes in the midst of conversations with cute boys, but upon catching feelings for Amity Blight, she's a mess of embarrassment until she finally works up the courage to confess her love. Her eventual partner is a canonical lesbian, but that doesn't discount how she feels about Luz. Her bisexuality doesn't become a barrier to how much these two characters grow to care about one another, and this inclusion is masterfully executed in a way that neighboring mediums would do well to replicate. I guess these are the two.
Yeah, there's an owl. So.
And I guess that's Luz up front, and then I guess that's Amity Bliss in the back.
Yeah.
All right.
And again with the shit art style, you know?
Yeah. This is what I feel like. Oh my god, who the hell cares? That's what I'm thinking right now. And thank God we're at the last paragraph. Real life bigotry would do well to learn from it too. Be better, you bigots in my chat. Whether you end up in the same
shit like this is creating bigots.
Yeah.
People are fed up.
First off, that should be a comma, not a period. Whether you end up in a same-sex relationship or a straight one, your bisexuality doesn't vanish from existence once a decision has been made. It never fucking has. It's part of you and always will be. No shit. And assuming it can be erased once your commitment is known is ignorance. No one thinks that. I'm glad shows like this can show children and adults alike that the real world could serve to be so much more welcoming. It already fucking is. Let's do better. Be better, you fucking bigots. Let's be super gay. Looking at you, Stieg. And let's learn to keep loving one another. Happy Bisexual Visibility Day. There it is.
Yeah.
Fucking hell, that was retarded.
Yeah. I don't mind the person's opinion. You know, she's entitled to them and all that, but at least deliver them like a journalist. You know, get the facts at least.
Yeah.
You know?
It's like just the facts. Just the facts,
the only thing they're gonna achieve if they make really shit shows, but they're being praised just because they have LGBTQ in them, is that people will associate it with really shit shows.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah. So it's like I don't like, you know, that's why I've pretty much like I'll keep talking about this cringe and things like that. But I've gotten to a point where I'm like, they're not listening to us. Like, they have to basically fail. They have to royally fail before they finally listen to us, because they're obviously not. We've been beating the drum repeatedly so much about like what we want. We're telling them this is how you do it. We are not like, you know, we're not bigots. We're not this, we're not that, we're not anything that you're claiming we are. We're just telling you how to craft stories where the sexuality, the skin color, the gender doesn't matter. Just give us good characters, and they refuse to listen to us.
Yeah,
they have to fail. It's at a point now where everything, Lucasfilm, Marvel, DC, Doctor Who's going that way, Star Trek has to fail.
Yeah.
There's no saving it. The only thing that it can do is die and somehow be resurrected.
Oh, they did that shit with the Shannara show as well.
Yeah.
Based on Terry Brooks's book. That one lasted for one season, and then it got moved to a different channel, and then it died after season 2. Yeah. And that one was it had a lot of that shit too, and then all kinds of swapping going on.
Yeah, so basically, just not just shows. I'm talking about like basically these major corporations. They have to at least get to a point where they have to file for bankruptcy. So maybe they can be bought out from under, and maybe resurrected. But there's no saving these companies. There's no saving these entities right now.
It's as soon as you give them money, you're enabling it, even if you're giving them money for something else.
Yeah, they have to fail. They have to. They're not going to fail anytime soon because people keep watching like the stuff that Disney Lucasfilm is putting out, or they keep watching the MCU movies, or they keep like purchasing comics.
Yeah,
if you want it to be saved, it has to die.
Yeah, from what I've seen, people aren't really happy with the MCU shows because they seem to be really poorly written. And even one of them said the only goal she had with the Loki show was to make him non-binary.
Yeah, that was like one of the writers. Yeah,
the priority. But
yeah,
don't give them money. I mean, I see a lot of people go, yeah, but the next show might be good, and then it isn't good.
It's like I hate equating it to an abusive relationship, but that's what it's like.
Yeah,
it's the mentality that's like they're going to change, and like they're not.
Yeah, you don't have to watch everything just because it's new.
Yeah,
So
there it is. That we went full retard first with the gamer article. So now, again, leave it up to the choice of my co-hosts. Diablo 2 or Bond.
Diablo 2.
All right, so let me open up that article. Let me close the gamer tab and open up that article. Let me scroll down. Probably not going to go too much into this. We're just going to show like what it's about the quote unquote backlash of the female characters.
Yeah,
see what they changed them to.
Just a little side note: Game Lord Dash, who's an Aussie YouTuber, has an awesome lore channel for RPGs, mainly Diablo and the Elder Scrolls. Kick-ass channel, by the way. He had one of his videos removed when he was showing examples of stuff they had changed.
Yeah, this goes into the backlash and like the changes. So
yeah.
Now I was looking forward to this game because one of the first ever games I played was Diablo. So I was looking forward to this, and then you have all this shit going on. Not just what's happening with Blizzard internally, but I'm talking about like, how they're changing certain things to appease a demographic that really never played games to begin with. With Activision Blizzard currently embroiled in multiple employee mistreatment lawsuits, facing accusations ranging from sexual harassment to labor law violations, Diablo 2 resurrected design director Rob Gallerani says that players unsure of whether or not to buy the game and thus give the controversial developer their money should do what they feel is right. So here's an image.
Which is fair enough. If people want to buy it and play it, go for it.
Yeah. So, speaking with independent news outlet Axios, Gallerani, whose team works for Activision Blizzard's subsidiary Vicarious Visions, rather than Blizzard proper, and thus were made aware of the accusations only once they were made public, recalled how it was definitely very troubling to hear those types of things about the once renowned developer. We want to support our colleagues and coworkers, blah, blah, blah. Okay. I'm going to get down to where they talk about the characters. All right. I'm going to go on this paragraph right here. Though he admitted that criticisms of the original release's sexualized character designs weigh very heavily on us, Gallerani argued that the seemingly more masculine designs of the remaster's cast were not made in order to avoid similar criticisms, but instead out of a desire to make them more like demon slayers and less like people who rolled out of a nightclub.
That's the point of Diablo, or rather, not the point, but part of the atmosphere and design from the get-go was that it was supposed to be extremely violent and sexualized.
Yeah.
It was going to be an RPG for adults, really. And you see it all through the first games. There's a harem in there. There's nude women on spikes and all kinds. There's nude guys too, for that matter.
Yeah, but look at the changes.
Yeah. I don't think the redesign of the Amazon is that bad, because she kind of looks like what's her name in Wonder Woman.
It's the face.
Yeah,
I mean, it's the face. It just doesn't sit right for me. It looks too matte. Like, not saying Robin Wright Penn is this. I'm saying this character, because that's the character you're thinking about.
Yeah,
and Wonder Woman. It looks too masculine. It's like they removed all femininity just from the facial features alone.
Yeah.
Like, the body itself is not that bad. I don't care if she's a little bit like muscular, because she's an Amazon.
Yeah, she's a melee or archer.
But that face God, that face. That's what's killing it for me.
Yeah, I'm fine with the Amazon being a bit buff, but I wouldn't be fine with the sorceress.
Yeah.
Being all buff.
So, hey, Brucey, you're saying having fun with it regardless. I mean, I'm not saying necessarily this is going to be like a deal breaker for me, but I'm saying it's like, I'm kind of at a point now where it's like, just please stop appeasing this like this very, very vocal minority that's really was never planning on buying the game to begin with until you like prostrated yourself before them.
Well, why even redesign them though? Because when you play the game, right? Except for when you pick the character, you don't even see their faces because it's top-down isometric.
Yeah,
so you won't even notice.
I don't get it. Basically, it's most likely from like everything that's been going on with Blizzard and like the quote unquote backlash, and that I put it in quotes backlash because it most likely wasn't actual backlash to the character designs. It's just people bitching about. It's like, oh, it's like unrealistic body types and all that fucking bullshit. And things like that, and then you combine that with what's going on with Activision Blizzard, and that's probably the reason why they changed it, even though it shouldn't have mattered anyway, because you really don't see the characters that much.
Well, I saw Dash had noticed something, and it's not just the characters that's redesigned. I mean, he spotted a statue of a topless woman in one of the temples. As old statues are, right? They have topless women and whatever. And they had dressed the statue, and you don't even notice it until you're looking for it, right? Because it's in the background. You mostly focus on the enemies, but they have even dressed the statues.
Yeah, I'm saying they're going overboard. So I like it's not really so much that like the animation itself. If this was just like the general animation that they went with like from the get go, it's cringe to look at, but at the same time it was their call. But the fact that they are doing it in response to perceived backlash and what's happening with Activision Blizzard, and they're going way overboard with actually clothing statues in the background that most people are not going to notice because they're trying not to fucking die.
Yeah, and the dead harem girls in the second chapter in the desert.
That's where it's going overboard.
Yeah, they're gone.
That's where I have an issue with this.
All of them are gone in the remake.
That's what I'm saying. That's why I have an issue with this. It's not necessarily the decision itself. It's the reason behind the decision and the level they went in that decision. That's what I have a problem with. So
bloody murder's perfectly fine and dismemberment's fine, but just don't have women look like women. That's a crime.
Yeah, pretty much. So, like I said, that's the issue. Like, the gameplay itself could be fine.
And unrealistic body types. Look at the barbarian. He's not wearing much, is he?
He's in the center, right? That's a barbarian.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
And do you know many people who look that buff?
No.
No. So it's not really the norm, is it?
No.
I've actually seen a lot of women that looks like the sorceress, though.
Okay, that's the sorceress.
Yep.
Which that's the Amazon.
Yeah,
What's
that
that one
there's
right
the
there?
assassin.
That's the assassin. Okay, so that's a barbarian.
Yeah, and the necromancer is to his right, and the paladin. No, sorry,
Paladin.
yeah, that's the paladin, the necromancer, the bony guy, and then the
Yeah.
druid at the end.
Yeah. There it is.
Yeah, the druid and the assassin were from the expansion pack
Okay.
for
Yeah.
the original game.
All right. So there it
They've
is.
done some change, some woke changes to the assassin too. Can't
Mhm.
remember what it was though.
I had to go look back and find it, but like I saw that article and I think about doing a video on it, but then I thought, I'll just discuss it because really, like it's the reasoning behind the decision. Like if it was just them saying we're going we're just doing this is like an internal decision and they just did the characters that way, fine, whatever. I mean, they're not exactly the Amazon still looks managed, but it was still their decision. But the fact that it's in response,
Yeah,
a bunch of external shit that really should not have affected it at all.
it
Is
makes
where I have an issue
the
with it. So,
resurrected title seem wrong. It should be like reincarnated instead, because that's what it really is.
so that's what I'm saying. Where I had the issue with this, and that's like I figured like we wouldn't really be touching too much onto this because I think the game is out right now. So
Yeah,
I actually might still get it and maybe stream it. I don't know, but we'll see. But I saw this article and I was like, that was just so stupid.
yeah. I think if you guys want a lot of information on this, go to Gamelore
Yeah.
Dash, because awesome. I'm not
Mhm.
even a huge fan of Diablo, but I keep watching his videos because they're well done. I like lore.
Mhm. Well, the body type is essentially the norm, but it's like one of those where it's like when Mortal Kombat 11 was coming out and they added more clothes to the female characters to make them less sexualized, but they left the men with like shirtless. So it's
Yeah,
like,
I mean, the barbarian's body type is a norm if you're
mhm,
playing games, but these people are complaining that they're not the norm in the real world when it comes to the women.
yeah. So that's where it's like the disconnect with these people, pretty much.
Yeah,
So let me click back and we'll end this on what the director for No Time to Die has said. And if you want to kill any chance your movie has, this is the way to go.
and they're already in the negative because they had to market this movie twice,
Mm-hmm.
and marketing is like a third of a movie's cost, I believe. So
Roughly a third, depending, roughly, but
yeah,
roughly a
so
third.
they added an extra third to it, to the cost now, just because of that.
Yeah. But here it is. No Time to Die director Cary Fukunaga admits film is woke while attempting to deny it. Again, you want to torpedo any remaining chance your movie might have. This is how you do it. The director of the upcoming James Bond film No Time to Die, Cary Fukunaga, recently admitted that the movie is woke while trying to deny rumors that writer Phoebe Waller-Bridge was brought in to wokeify the film. In an interview with The Hollywood Reporter, Fukunaga discusses how he is modernizing James Bond for a post-Me Too reality, according to The Hollywood Reporter's Tatiana Siegel. First, the director accuses James Bond of rape in past films. He states, is it Thunderball or Goldfinger, where like basically Sean Connery's character rapes a woman? Say you haven't watched any like films without these films without saying you haven't. No, they can't. That's what we're saying. That's what these people complain about. That's what these people complain about, which is that's how stupid it is. That's why this whole situation with how they change certain female characters, particularly in games, is borderline retarded. Well, you'll see, Trey Courtney, you'll see. He adds, she's like, no. And he's like, yes. That wouldn't fly today. And Bounty in the comics actually goes into how the scenes play out. And they're shocker. They're not like that at all. In Thunderball, Bond, played by Connery, has a flirtatious relationship with Patricia, played by Molly Peters. After Bond is almost killed on the rack, she tells him, you better come along with me, spend a few minutes in the steam room. It will help to relax you, might even shrink you back to size. Bond responds, somebody's going to wish that it had never happened. Patricia then says, well, you wouldn't tell Dr. Wayne. Please, I'd lose my job. To which Bond says, well, I suppose my silence could have a price. Patricia then flirts back with him, wagging her finger at him and smiling. You don't mean, oh no. Bond says, oh yes. She then proceeds to open the steam room door and enters inside with Bond. She chose to do it. And
I remember that one.
Mm-hmm. In Goldfinger, Bond and Pussy Galore, played by Honor Blackman, tussle in a barn with both throwing each other around. After Bond tosses Galore onto a bale of hay, he sits down next to her. Galore then attempts to kick him. He blocks it and then pins her down. As he's on top of her, she keeps him at bay with her arms outstretched, but does appear to smile. She then moves her head back and forth to avoid Bond. However, as he continues to get closer, she eventually braces him in a kiss and relaxes her hands.
Which is their version of foreplay, really, in that situation.
Yeah. Yeah. Pretty much. I bet this guy's never used his position in life to grease. Yeah, pretty much. Hey, Cowman. Oh, look. Hey, troll.
Why do white people always complain about female characters or black characters? I don't know.
Hello, troll. I'm a biracial woman. And I'm complaining about these characters.
Yeah. Mara happens to be half Arab.
Mm-hmm. I got the Muslim card on you, bitch. You want to come into my chat and troll? Come on.
I'm white, though. I'm from Norway. But, Norwegians are a minority. Because there's only 5 million of us.
No, you come in with that comment, you're a troll. If you're saying that mainly crybaby white boys that complain, you're coming in as a troll. You can have that opinion. It's still a shit opinion. So, don't come into my chat accusing my subscribers, the people who are watching this stream, who watch the videos of all the people on YouTube, as shit like this. Don't do it.
I mean, look at the chat. There's all kinds of racists in the chat.
You want to see this? Here, Trey Courtney. He's complaining too.
Mm-hmm.
And Cowman, what I missed? You missed a stupid article from The Gamer about queer representation in animation and how it's bisexuality is paving the way for that in animation. And then what was I going to say? Oh, and then the quote unquote backlash to the Diablo 2 characters and how it's like it altered their character design.
Side note, Mr. Troll in the chat, notice how we didn't have any problems with the Black Paladin in Diablo 2.
Yeah, I was like, okay, that's the Paladin? Okay, fine.
He was always black. They didn't change him. Hence, no complaints.
Hey, Nico Glock for $5. He says, hi, Mara. Hi, Steeg. Hi, non-troll chat. So, yeah. And Calvin says, I'm a cow, bro. I'm not even human. Yeah. So there it is. So moving on. By the end of the film, Pussy Galore and James Bond avoid getting rescued and enjoy each other's company. After calling Bond a rapist, Fukunaga then attempted to refute the idea that Phoebe Waller-Bridge was brought into the film to make Bond more woke. He said, I think that's the expectation, a female writing very strong female roles, but that's something Barbara wanted already. From my very first conversations with Broccoli, that was a very strong drive. This is the same woman who also said that Bond should stay a male.
Also, it was announced that she was hired to make James Bond more Me Too friendly.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So, and like, so even like her saying this, it has not. So it's not meaning that she's signing off on this whole. I'll continue in the article so you can see like what they're saying. You can't change Bond overnight into a different person, but you can definitely change the world around him and the way he has to function in that world. The director then concluded, it's a story about a white man as a spy in this world, but you have to be willing to lean in and do the work to make the female characters more than just contrivances.
Well, of course he's white. He's descendant of a Scottish lord. You know?
Yeah, and that's how Ian Fleming wrote him.
Yeah, that's how he's described in the books. And why change him now in the last film that Craig's doing? Because they pretty much do their own little series based on the actors. Mm-hmm. You know, the Connery Bond isn't the same as the Roger Moore one, and all that. So why do it in the final chapter, though? That's weird. If they had done it from the get-go, fine, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, they don't like. Yeah, but like now they're doing it in the final chapter, which tells me that if they were to continue James Bond in any regard, this is the direction they're going to go. Yeah. Hey, Ms. Martin Uses, good to see you.
Hi, Teresa.
So hold on, we gotta go to the article. Okay. Down here, okay. Actress Lashana Lynch would go on to confirm that the film is woke, noting that Bond is treated with equity, not equality, equity, in the film compared to the female characters. She explains, Carrie had big discussions with Barbara and Daniel about how to give the female characters equity, not equality, equity, how to keep them in charge of themselves, and how to give them solo moments where the audience learns who they are.
Well, that happens in every damn Bond movie anyway.
Yeah.
I mean, look at, For Your Eyes Only, Melina Havelock. You even get to see her origin, basically, at the beginning when her parents are killed. You know? And a lot of them will talk about their childhoods and, their past. Yeah. So this there is nothing new at all.
No.
It's been a thing in almost all of the Bond movies.
Prove it.
What? Cried not enough shit. Black people in Black Panther. Actually, I would have liked to see less black people. Less white people in Black Panther. Yeah, it takes place in Africa. Come on.
The Last of Us 2 female lead. No one had any problem with Ellie. Everyone fucking knew she was a lesbian before The Last of Us 2. And if you're talking about Abby, the problem they had with fucking Abby was the fact that they focused on her on the game when they lied in the marketing, making it look like they were just focusing on Joel and Ellie. And then Ms. Marvel. Well, Ms. Marvel is a shit character. Doesn't matter what her background is. And this is coming from a half Arabic woman, mind you. Spider-Man Miles, he's just...
I don't even know who that is.
Well, it's Miles Morales, basically. Decent character, but like he's basically just... He's not a race swapped Peter Parker, but basically he's just taking like Peter Parker character and making another character, Spider-Man character that way.
He's saying, but it's okay when Tom Cruise was in Last Samurai. You know what?
Yeah, because his character was white and he was in Japan. So Tom Cruise wasn't the Last Samurai. Shocker! If you ever saw the fucking movie, he wasn't the Last Samurai.
Yeah, I still thought. I didn't like that though. I thought it should have just been Japanese people. To be honest, I thought it was very, I thought they were Americanizing the samurais. Really,
like if you're going to come in and try calling people out, at least know shit that you're talking about.
No.
at least try to do that.
Yeah,
At least fucking try to do that.
I actually agree with them with Tom Cruise and the samurai stuff. I didn't. I thought it was a bit cringe. They basically Americanized the samurais, in my opinion. But
well, I don't think they did.
I don't think
they
facts
did
matter
because
to this guy though.
the focus because his character was that. Yeah, it wasn't like they weren't doing that, but at the same time, like I said, like they just focused on, like just having a Japanese film, kind of like the Seven Samurai.
Yeah.
So, yeah. Switched to Abby, and I just didn't care at that point. That's the problem they had. And a super sticker from Deranged Lunatic. It is a rose. Thank you so much, Deranged Lunatic. I had to go onto the other side to do that. Miles is a side character playing a main role, a C-list superhero at best. So basically, it's like they didn't race swap Peter Parker, but they didn't really do much of the Miles Morales character to make him interesting. So basically, it just came off as...
Who is Miles?
Okay, Miles Morales is a Spider-Man. A Spider-Man. He's not the Spider-Man. He's a Spider-Man. He is bitten by a radioactive spider, much in the same way that Peter Parker is. And there is... he's kind of taken on the mantle, the name Spider-Man. So,
okay.
That's really all you really need to know because they haven't done much with the character to really set him apart from Peter Parker. So really he just comes across as, even though he's not supposed to be a race swap to Peter Parker, he comes across as a race swap to Peter Parker in a sense.
Okay, so basically they just didn't go with any creativity.
His family background is different, but at the same time, it's like they haven't done much. Like the only time that I ever really cared about the Miles Morales character was Into the Spider-Verse because they actually added depth to that character in that movie. But up until that movie, like Sogi01 says, he was a side character at best, like a C-list superhero. Not much to his character, which is really the fault of Marvel, not the fans. The fault of Marvel because they could have done so much with the character to set him apart, and they didn't.
I hadn't heard of him, so he probably is a C-lister, right?
He says Miles could be a good character if he was written better and his powers were used for stealth than full-on public superhero. Yes, because I mean I don't know too much about the character, but in Into the Spider-Verse, it's shown that he can turn invisible. That's one of it, that's one of the powers. So he's able to stealth mode that way. And they could have done it to set himself apart, but they didn't focus on any of that shit. So, also the part about foreigners helping train Japanese soldiers was true, except it was a French guy, not American, that the movie got the idea from. Yeah. So basically, like I'm saying, it wasn't necessarily, it wasn't false that you had foreigners, because that's true. There were foreigners training Japanese soldiers and other countries' soldiers. But the fact is that they focus on Tom Cruise character when maybe they should have just focused on no, it wasn't Chow Yun-fat. Ken Watanabe, I believe, was in that movie. Focus on his character instead, the Last Samurai. There.
Yeah.
So
Tom Cruise wasn't the Last Samurai.
I'm saying he wasn't the Last Samurai. The movie wasn't exactly the problem. It's the fact that they should have focused on Ken Watanabe's character more.
Yeah.
Than Tom Cruise's, but Tom Cruise was a bigger name. So there's that. So
yeah, and it was released in a time where movies like that were really popular due to Braveheart and Gladiator and stuff. So you had a lot of historical movies with swords happening at the same time.
It was really important to empower the female characters as standalones, and I think that he kept that in mind throughout the whole shoot. I didn't feel like Nomi as a young black woman who was constantly standing behind the white guy, which for me is job done. And that was a very conscious decision for Carrie, she added.
So it's kind of like...
Halle Berry would like to have a word with you, LaShawn Nolan.
Halle Berry already did that.
Yeah, I'm saying, she'd like to have a word with you.
Mm-hmm.
Just saying.
And if you're going to go with other women of color, you have Michelle Yeoh.
I want to see
And,
Tom Cruise with Acacia. Yeah, Grace Jones,
which I think she was in the Bond movie before Halle Berry.
Yeah, Tomorrow Never Dies. Michelle Yeoh.
Yeah.
So, let's see. Broccoli would also admit the film is woke. I think people are coming around with some kicking and screaming to accepting that stuff is no longer acceptable. Thank goodness. Bond is a character who was written in 1952, and the first film, Dr. No, came out in 1962. He's got a long history, and the history of the past is very different to the way he's being portrayed now, she added. On top of this interview, Twitter claims that Lynch will be 007 in the upcoming film.
She won't be. Well, she might have the number because Bond is kind of retired, isn't he? They have to fetch him again.
The last Daniel Craig Bond movie I watched was Skyfall. So I haven't seen the one right before this one. So I have no idea.
Yeah.
What's going on, really.
Well, he basically defeats Blofeld at the end. And it wasn't bad, though. It just felt like Jason Bourne rather than Bond.
Yeah. I did like Casino Royale.
Oh.
But they started going downhill for me after that. The Daniel Craig ones, I should say. What do you make of Fukunaga's comments? Do they inspire you to want to go see No Time to Die? No, they don't. I mean, I might have given this movie a chance if the whole pandemic bullshit hadn't even started, and it's like to see what the swan song would have been. I might have given it a chance, but everything since the delay, everything that's been said, everything that's been revealed, everything that's like right now, nope. Not gonna go see it. I like maybe we'll wait until it's on cable, like one of the movie channels, and I can see it for free, essentially. But
also,
no, I'm not going to see this in theaters. No.
In the article, it says the Might and Magic 6-pack. Go get it. It's awesome. It's basically Diablo mixed with Doom.
All right. Well, there you go. There you have it.
Endorsement
for Might and Magic and Might and Magic.
I'm not watching this movie in the cinema because I probably wouldn't have anyway. Because I'm not into cinemas that much anymore. Too
Holy
noisy.
Shit! To break even.
Yeah. This is true. This
it's not going to make nearly that.
Yeah. Nope. I'll watch it if it's on a streaming service though eventually, but it's not
maybe on
a streaming
service.
Priority.
That's it. I'm not paying to see it in theaters. Yeah, I'm not paying to see it in theaters.
Yeah, it's not going to be
especially not after
priority.
This, so. Yeah, especially not after this. I'm with Trey. I'm kind of like Halloween Kills, and I'm still going to go see the new Ghostbusters film. I'm not exactly like believing that it's going to be great necessarily. I just want, and I'm fully aware that it's most likely going to have a lot of nostalgia bait in it because it is, in a sense, a sequel. It is like the first two Ghostbusters films, acting like the 2016 one never happened. So I want to see what they do with it. I want to see how they handle the kids, because the kids are obviously, I'm just like, spoiler alert. I mean, if you can't figure this out from the trailers, I don't know what to tell you, but they're obviously Spangler's grandkids.
Yeah.
And I want to see what they do with it, like as out of respect to Harold Ramis. So
given that it's more than 30 years ago since the second one, you're gonna have to have nostalgia in it because.
Yeah, I'm saying so people are complaining about that, and I'm like I'd actually honestly be surprised if there wasn't nostalgia in the movie, because you have to use that because you're bringing in the characters from the first two movies. So like how is that not going to be nostalgia in itself? I just don't get the people who are going, oh, it's just going to be nostalgia bait. I'm like, well, kind of no shit.
Yeah,
I also want to go see it.
Which is what they're cheering for with The Mandalorian, nostalgia bait. It's great there, but I don't know.
Hey, Artist Day and JM 2021. We are kind of wrapping up now. We're kind of wrapping up.
I'm pretty sure. Well, this is my hunch, though, but I think I think the new Ghostbusters is going to be fine.
I don't think it's gonna be great as long as it's enjoyable. That's what I care about. And not
to be honest, the second Ghostbuster movie isn't fantastic either.
No,
it's okay. The
Yeah.
first one is fantastic.
Mm-hmm.
But the
the second one I'll watch. I mean, I've seen the 2016 one once. I saw it on cable, and I still wanted my money back.
Yeah.
I don't know. Basically, what traces there is a way to do nostalgia. Nostalgia in itself is not bad. It's just when it's used as a just a more or less just as a bait and switch to get butts and seats. That's when it's bad. But you can't do this movie, the Ghostbusters movie, and not have there be nostalgia in it to some degree.
Exactly, because you wanna kind of say hello to the old fans too, right?
Yeah. So like I said, I don't have a problem with the nostalgia. It's how it's used is where I have a problem with it. And yeah, like what Blake says, Rhino is broken. He can't feel the joy of Ghostbusters. But yeah, because like Rhino, I love him, but I think like he has become a little too hypersensitive. A little too hypersensitive.
He is a tortured man.
He is a broken soul.
Yeah. There, I can sense the inner turmoil all the way up to Norway, and it even caused an earthquake the other day.
Yeah, I was gonna say, I think the earthquake was caused by his triggered rage.
Yeah, Rhino was having a nightmare, and earthquake happened.
Hey, Corey Cochran. Like I said, I'm just hopefully you, the ones that are just joining the chat, enjoy the replay because I'm basically wrapping up. The stream now covered a gamer article, covered the Diablo 2, the changes to the Diablo 2 characters and female characters particularly, and how to torpedo any chance your film has in one interview with the No Time to Die director. So there it is.
Why would they hire a guy with these kinds of views to make a Bond movie, though? It's
why do they hire people at Lucasfilm who only have like one credit to their name?
Yeah,
it's because they have the right politics. That's really it.
It's like this isn't the franchise for him, right? If he thinks Bond is a rapist.
Yeah, no, that's what I'm saying. Like I don't get it. I don't get it. Like why they do. I don't get why they do this, but at the same time, it's like. In a way, I kind of do, and at the same time, it goes back to my earlier statement that a lot of these entities, whether it's movies or gaming, like the corporations themselves, need to just die. They need to die so that maybe, hopefully, they could be resurrected like the Phoenix, and we can actually see good content come, regardless of gender, regardless of skin color, regardless of sexuality, because those things, while characteristics are only skin deep, and we want to see good storytelling. We want to see good characters. That's all we care. That's all we care about.
Or actual characters, to be honest, not just self-inserts.
Yeah. So, but we're not going to see any changes unless, like I said, like you said earlier, people stop buying. They stop supporting these entities in some way, or like stop buying the new comic books. Stop that are obviously done in a way that discounts actual good storytelling just for politics. I don't care what the politics are. Keep them out of entertainment.
Well, it's kind of the fans' fault too if they keep paying for stuff they don't like. You know.
In a way, yeah.
They're basically feeding the beast. But why not just spend that money on older stuff that you do like then? I mean, as long as people haven't read everything that's ever been, produced, when it comes to the X-Men or whatever, there's still plenty of content out there. So spend money on that and you'll be happier, right?
Yeah, I'd like to watch the old episodes of the X-Men cartoon that I grew up on. Plenty of diversity there.
Yeah.
plenty of diversity there, but like it was done so in a way where it was natural to the storytelling. It wasn't just like, hey, let's insert this character here because we need a particular sexuality or a particular skin color or a particular gender.
Yeah, I mean,
didn't matter.
Look at the old G.I. Joe. They had all races in it.
Yeah.
Because it was, the world, the best people, the best soldiers from the world.
So there's that. But anyway, thank you for hanging out with me for this past about a little over an hour and a half now. Like, as always, I will be ending on a commercial that my co-host provided. But before I bring up that commercial, I'm going to close a couple tabs. I'm going to let Stig again let everybody know where they can find him and what he's been up to. And then I'll tell you all what to look forward to in the near future. So without further ado, take it away, Stig, while I open up your commercial in another tab.
Yeah. Next week I'm going to be doing the weekly thing with Alora again. Coffee chat, OG Star Wars. And that's pretty much it. Sometimes on Saturdays, though, I'm on, the Florida Man show with Lorena.
So, you just called a Muslim racist. You just called a Muslim woman racist.
And,
good on you.
Fun thing, I've been doing a Star Wars chat every Thursday for over a year with a Native American woman.
Mm-hmm.
It's just me and her.
Yeah.
That's how racist and sexist I am.
Oh, and my co-host is, for Talk Nerdy to Us, is Latina.
Yeah.
Come into our chat tomorrow evening, Supervisor JD. You want to see a Mexican woman rip you a new one?
Yeah. And on Sundays, I'm on Florida the Man with Lorena, who happens to be black.
There you go.
Imagine that. It's weird, isn't it? I'm like the worst racist ever. And here I am with a half.
We're the worst races ever. We accept everyone. So
yeah, half Middle Eastern woman on this stream.
Yeah.
And my D&D group has 2 half Middle Eastern women in it, and 1 Native American woman and an Irish woman.
Yep.
Very sexist of me, right?
Oh yeah, he's the only male in the group. 4 women. He's the only male.
DM running the game for 4 women. Diverse group.
Mm-hmm. So, on that note, ladies and gentlemen, on that note, thank you again for stopping by, including the one who tried to bait us by claiming mob racism in the chat.
Tried to bait us and ended up being a beta.
Yeah, pretty much. Who claims to be a Cuban woman with... look at that avatar.
It's an awesome avatar, to be honest. I like it.
But anyway, so tomorrow evening will be Talk Nerdy to Us. It will be on my Nerdy Homes channel, my co-host, the Latina who will rip you anyone a new one who comes into their chat trying to troll this stupid shit. So you're more than welcome to try. It'll be at 10 p.m. Eastern time tomorrow. But before then, and I want to say thank you again for the $2 super chats. Nico, don't feed the troll, you racist. Yes.
Well, troll needs to eat too.
Yes. Well, before, I think it's at 9:30 Eastern time. If you enjoy anime and manga, Lethal Lightning is doing a volume 1 for Sailor Moon manga discussion with Lady Gravemaster. So I think that's at 9:30 p.m. Eastern. But don't quote me on that because I don't think he has the link up yet for that live stream. But if you're so inclined to watch that and then jump over to our stream, feel free. If you want to multitask with both streams up, feel free to do that as well. But go check that out. It's very entertaining discussion. I'll be in the chat for a little bit until my stream starts. And my facts. Sure. Yeah. Bullshit isn't facts. So he has the link up, but it's unlisted. Well, basically, so they won't be able to find it, basically. So yeah, but I think it's 9:30 p.m. Eastern. So So are you saying that you're a Cuban woman with a dick? Are you saying you're a chick with a dick? Chick with a dick, everybody. Chick with a dick. Seek with rights, Rachel's does need to eat. Yeah. Well, you just said these nuts, so you're a chick with a dick.
Maybe it's just the nuts and not the dick.
I don't know. I mean, it could be.
I don't know.
Could be like Bakeman says in Ghostbusters, this man has no dick. So.
Yeah, dickless.
Yeah. So, dickless wonder. But
fun fact: people are still yelling that to the actor, and he's pissed about it.
Oh yeah.
40 years later, people are yelling dickless at him from across the street and stuff.
William Atherton, oh god, he did such a good job, but I feel bad for him that actually people tried to fight him when that movie came out. People tried to fight him.
Yeah.
He's like, again, like, you know, one of our past discussions, like, when, you know, one of the nicest guys working in Hollywood. He's like a decent guy, a nice guy, but people tried to fight him because he did such a good job playing Walter Peck in Ghostbusters.
Yep, it's insane.
So, and just also a fun fact with that movie, the scene where the marshmallow falls on him, he didn't realize that was going to happen. He was basically told by Ivan Reitman, stand here. That's all he knew. He didn't know anything that was going to happen, or like, you know, like he was like, or at least the amount that was going to happen. He just knew, I got to stand here and look around. That's what he knew. So basically, Reitman could get the reaction from him for that scene. So, there it is. So, all right. Again, longest outro. So I will say goodnight again to the chat. I have Steeg's commercial up to end this stream on. I will mute the both of us while the commercial is playing. So let me share the screen. Let me expand that. And I will say again, good night.
Better luck next time.
What are you gonna do? I have a plan. I want you to change my grade.
Why should I do that? This rate will be here all day. Oh!
Get your rocks off.
Oh!
You're still here? It's over. Go home. Go.